Hello, Namaskar. You're watching BTTV. This is Market Today. I'm Tanya Aneja and with me Shail Bhatnagar and Markets Editor. Well, it's Diwali week and tug of war continues between bulls and bears. So, what should be your strategy going forward? We'll discuss this and much more. But first up, the top headlines for you. Indian stocks are likely to consolidate in an upward to sideways band as overseas cues improve further. Crude oil futures drop below $80 a barrel and trade under 200 DMA, adding further strength to Indian bulls. Quarterly earnings are likely to be the main drivers of sentiment on stocks such as Apollo Tyres, even as nearly 10 companies report their performance today. OMCs will be in focus as crude oil dips to 3-month lows. Morning, Shell. It's a fresh Wednesday morning, Budhvar ki subah, and it looks like bulls are not ready to give up anytime soon. Nifty ended above that 19,400 mark yesterday. And the US cues and sharp drop in the crude oil prices are positive indicators for Indian bulls. So, where do you see Nifty and what should be the strategy for today?
Good morning, Tanya, and a very, very warm welcome to thousands of viewers who are joining us on this lovely Wednesday morning. It's the festivities week, and Tanya, things are looking better and better. For a change, let me please, with your permission, start with the crude oil chart, which you remember has been a pain point over the last month or so because of the kind of problems that we are seeing in the Middle East. Now, there is a lot of good news coming for Indian equity markets, and you'll see that reflected in the crude oil chart that is just about to come on your screen. So a 4-month low on crude oil prices, down below $80 a barrel and down below 200 DMA, and that's because China's exports for October have fallen 6% year on year. If there is a problem in the second largest economy in the world and the first largest economy in the world like the US is not doing well, it basically means that crude oil prices are likely to remain here or slip further down, which is a very, very positive impact on Dalal Street because we import about 80 to 85% of our crude oil import requirements, and that improves our fiscal balance sheet. A fall in crude oil improves the sentiment on Dalal Street, and all that is extremely positive for today at least. Now, Tanya, these views that we are sharing are meant for intraday or maximum till Friday. So crude oil is one pain point that is out of the way. There is a continuous rally on US markets for the last 7 sessions in a row, and that's rubbed off extremely well on our markets. And if you look at yesterday's rally on the Nifty, we may have ended 5 points lower, but remember, we are above 19,400 and the low for yesterday was 19,330. So there was a very, very sharp rally, and I'm hopeful that you will see some kind of a gap up on the Nifty and Bank Nifty, which might release a lot of call buyers who had got into the markets in the last half an hour of trade. So the trend is positive for Nifty as also Bank Nifty. Remember, we are on the weekly expiry of Bank Nifty today. Both indices are likely to consolidate in an upward trajectory, and earnings are the deciders as far as sentiment is concerned. You've seen very, very strong earnings coming from Trent yesterday. The stock closed at a record high. Cummins and Apollo Hospitals are likely to, Apollo Tyres are likely to improve their show today because earnings came after market hours yesterday, and you will see at least 10 companies from the F&O space reporting earnings today. So oil marketing companies and paint companies are going to be positively impacted by this fall in crude oil prices. So watch out for IOC, BPCL and HPCL amongst the state-owned refiners, as also Asian Paints and Berger Paints, because crude oil prices have gone down. About 60% of their raw material is sourced from crude oil derivatives, and that will have a positive impact, at least sentimentally, on the stock price. More importantly, FIs are not in a massive aggressive sell mode. So far in November, only 4,000 crores have been sold on a net basis by foreign institutional investors. In comparison, domestic friends have bought 8,000 crores. So Tanya, all good things happening for the Nifty today. Let's see whether we are able to head towards 19,500 or not as far as this wonderful index is concerned. Yesterday, we closed mildly in the red after 3 days of sustained buying. My understanding is that we should see an uptick, an upward trajectory sideways to consolidating zone on the Nifty by the dip towards 19,400. Tanya.
Okay, we should see an uptick. And by the way, Shell, BPCL was among the top gainers yesterday as well. But coming to Bank Nifty now, the trend there is also aggressive, and we have weekly expiry today as well. Bank Nifty ended at 43,737 odd level yesterday in the green. So, what are you looking on Bank Nifty today, and what are now the fresh support and resistance level?
So, Tanya, the daily chart of the Bank Nifty is in front of you. And yesterday was a fabulous day. Remember, today is the the weekly expiry of Bank Nifty, it being Wednesday. The index closed 118 points higher at 43,730. That's not the story. The story is that it surged from a low of 43,300 and then went up. The pent-up demand that you've seen on Bank Nifty in the last half an hour of trade was phenomenal. My understanding is that you're likely to see a modest gap up on Bank Nifty. And when you look at the short covering that's happening in ITM calls basically means any call between 43,700 to 43,100. So all those 600 calls, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 are showing extreme short covering, and expiry led short covering will also most likely help Bank Nifty bulls. So a nice bit of aggression likely in the first 1 hour of trade. What happens after 1 hour, we will decide after 1 hour.
Okay, absolutely. Let's see how the action pans out. But as you rightly pointed out, we have 10 companies that will be reporting its numbers from the FNO space. So what are you looking at in the FNO space? I'm sure lots happening there as well.
Tanya, my eyes would be glued on oil marketing companies, which is IOC, BPCL, and HPCL. My eyes will be glued on Asian Paints and Berger Paints, to some extent even Pidilite. If you remember, in the early part of last week, when Pidilite had fallen for 9 or 10 days in a row, we had taken a very bold call as far as the long side trade was concerned. It was a swing trade in the making, and from that point onwards, which is 2300, the stock has appreciated to 2438. So buying the paint and quality stocks is something that you will see very frequently happening on Business Today television, and that's the reason to stick around with us. So paint companies, oil marketing companies, very strong earnings coming from Cummins, and of course Deepak Nitrite and Navin Fluorine. These are the stocks that I am viewing. Deepak Nitrite came out with a stunning set of numbers in the chemical space. Remember Aarti Industries 2 days ago? So Deepak Nitrite and Navin Fluorine are two stocks that I am looking at. These have been beaten black and blue because the chemical space was in pain over the last 18 months, 24 months, but some kind of buying support should emerge at these levels. Navin Fluorine, I think, has a clarity coming in on its pollution certificate for a particular plant. That plant is likely to open. So both these stocks from the chemical space are on my radar. Tanya.
Okay, absolutely. Keep an eye on these stocks. Let's talk about global markets as well, Shell. We are getting positive cues from the US markets. The S&P 500, if you see, that added 0.3% to clinch its seventh straight positive session. Nasdaq also advanced around 0.9%. And Tuesday, in fact, marked the longest stretch of positive days since November 2021 for both these indexes. And Dow Jones, if you see, that was also nearly up around 2%, 34,152 odd level. Oil prices, we already discussed. Brent crude futures were down $2 per barrel to $82 a barrel, and gold also fell to a near 2-week low on Tuesday on a firmer dollar. So, what is now essential to track from these overseas cues, Shell?
So Tanya, I always only look at one chart, crude oil, and that is what decides my day. As
Hmm.
also the 10-year US bond yield, both of them are quiet. I again repeat, the chart of the day will be the crude oil chart. It will decide the sentiment on both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, and it being at a 4-month low, it being below 200 DMA, it being below $80 a barrel, are all three very very positive things for the Lal Street and local bulls. This is the most impactful chart of the day, and let us see how markets open given this background on crude oil. Again, oil marketing companies and paint companies are the ones that will be the most immediate beneficiaries of this dip in crude oil prices. And remember, Tanya, no matter how low the crude oil prices dips, our retail pump prices are not changing. So that's the only negative that I can see, that despite a fall of about 10-12% from the peak, we will continue to pay for diesel and petrol the way that we do.
Absolutely, and I think Gaurang Shah, our market guest, will be with us in a while. But meanwhile, let's discuss some of the sectors as well. I think Gaurang is with us right now. Okay, yeah, he's with us. So Mr. Gaurang Shah joins us
Yes.
now. He's the senior VP at Geojit Financial Services. Very good morning, Mr. Shah. Festive greetings to you, and always good to have you on BTTV. Let me start with your market outlook only. I mean, we are getting positive cues from the US markets, and we are seeing sharp drop in crude oil prices as well. So, is the worst really behind us?
Thank you, Tanya, and morning to all of you all. Season's greetings to you, to Shell, to the entire team of BTTV and viewers from Geojit and myself. Uh, Worst is behind us. I hope and pray, to be very honest. The problem lies with the geopolitical situation. Of course, you are not hearing too much of it now. And I think this will also see the fate that 2.5 years back, we reacted to Russia-Ukraine crisis. Now nobody talks about it. And hoping that there is no escalation or no disruption to the global crude oil supply pipelines, which are very crucial to the Middle East region where this geopolitical situation has escalated. Hoping that that doesn't happen, and hoping that no lunatic wants to jump into this particular fire in form of neighboring countries. I guess the worst should be behind us. And let me say this with a little bit of more confidence. Despite of the severe FI selling in the month of October, beginning of November, whatever 1 week we have seen, uh, had it not been for the support in terms of buying for the domestic institutions, Tanya, we could have been much, much lower from where we have bounced back. That is 18,850 or 60 odd levels, couple of days or weeks back. Earnings for the second quarter, we are virtually in the last leg of it, and whatever we have seen up till now has given a sign of relief, with an anticipation that third and fourth quarter could be even better. Let's hope so. And the re-ratings have not stopped, depending upon sector and stock specific ideas. Re-rating has happened, targets have got revised upwards. And I remember discussing the market situation with Shell. Uh, 19,200, 400, our view was that it won't be taken off. But I think due to a lot of factors, it got broken. The next level that became crucial was 18,800. We have not breached that. We touched a low of 18,850, 860 and bounced back. And the fact of the matter is that we are possibly closer to that 19,400 mark. Now, if we are able to keep our head afloat and decisively, give a closing above these levels for a couple of days, then I think a slow and steady march towards 19,550, 19,600 or a little bit beyond that cannot be ruled out. But it will not happen in a day. We have got crucial elections, state elections. There is going to be a lot of noise from that part of the world, which will keep the markets under the weather or under check. But nevertheless, I think what we have mentioned earlier, Tanya, is that all dips are great opportunities to buy, provided you have a long-term time horizon.
Right. Good morning, Gorang, and a very warm welcome to you on Market Today. Please accept our warmest greetings for
Thank you.
this wonderful festivity that is around us, both in the Lal Street as also in our lives. All the good luck to you. And before we start our interaction, I'd like to show our viewers and investors a chart of JK Lakshmi Cement. For those of us who've been with us for a longer period of time, know that this is one of the favorite stocks that Mr. Shah often advises to buy during its time of pain. And this is how very, very smart money is made with the least possible risk taken, even if you are in equities. So, if it is a good quality stock and it is in pain, wait for the good time to come, because good prices and good times don't go together. A very, very deep congratulations to you, Gorang, for suggesting these wonderful counters. Gorang spoke about this stock somewhere like 620, 630, 640, 650, and the price is now 773, backed by very strong earnings. Gorang, one view and JK.
Well, always, thanks very much, Shell, for remembering and acknowledging this particular fact. And season's greetings to you and your family and your entire team. So, cement, Shell, if you recollect, even, generally the perception of the market is that monsoon is not the good time for cement sector. Construction activity slows down, etc., etc., etc. But I was looking at monsoon season's data in terms of cement bag offtake for the last 3 to 5 years. And year after year, Shell, the offtake of cement bag has only increased. Forget about decreasing. And along with that, you've seen a little bit of stable price rise in terms of cement bag prices. There's been an uptick. I always still believe, yeah, okay, from a short to medium term point of view, because of the state election code of conduct coming in place. Next year, you have a big election, code of conduct will play its part. Maybe a little bit of slow, infrastructure or construction related activity from state governments or the central government because of the code of conduct coming into effect may possibly slow down. But real estate sector is the second largest consumer of the cement that is manufactured in India. Private capex is going to come through. Post this state election and the big election next year, I think consumption is again going to go up. The best part is, Shell, that the input cost issue that most of the cement manufacturing companies were facing is now history, a thing of the past. And the margins are going to improve going forward from here on. So both large cap and mid cap cement is something that we have been recommending for a pretty long period of time. Since you've spoken about cement, there is one more small company in the cement sector called Sagar Cement, Shell, which we have identified a couple of days back or months back, somewhere close to about 230 or 240. That's the price should be of Sagar Cement. I think this is also an interesting investment idea.
Okay. Sagar Cement at 255, ladies and gentlemen. Please take a small notebook with a pen and pencil and keep on noting down these wonderful stocks that our investors share. From our side, we'd like to say that these are long-term picks meant for portfolios, and they give you supernormal return initially in the first 1 year or so, because we buy them during the pain. So a monthly sip, good quality at the time of its pain is what is one of the best recommendations that you could get as far as stock picking is concerned. Gorang, let's get to brass tacks. This is now the festival season, and we've seen a very, very strong earnings tailwind. In the next 2 or 3 days, it will be earnings peak for the previous quarter in the current session. And this has, of course, come up with a set of winners like Trent, Cummins, Apollo Tyres, and a whole host of companies that have outperformed our expectations. Based on this data, anything that looks interesting to you for the longer term, which our investors can again note down in their notebook?
Well, so Shell, from the broader markets, I would prefer, and I'm very cautious when it comes to investments in the broader markets, especially the small cap universe. Mid cap, I would be a little bit more adventurous, sector specific. So these are two mid cap investment ideas. First one is from the communication stroke defense sector. The company is Astra Micro. Uh, Extremely upbeat. I know there are certain section of the market that feels that defense is overvalued, etc., etc. But I think you need to be very, very stock specific. And if you be stock specific and invest accordingly, then I think there is a lot of gains to be made. So Astra Microwave is the first one uh, from the defense stroke defense communication category. The second one is, I know auto is doing well, but I think at the same time, Shell, we should not ignore auto ancillary stroke OEM segment companies, because these are the companies that enable auto companies to make a durable and a safe vehicle, and keep up to those crash standard marks, 4 star, 5 star, etc. So while there's one company named recently, the name was changed because of some corporate development, and the company is CIE Automotive. uh, I think over the last year and a half, Shell, correct me if I'm wrong, amongst the auto ancillary stroke OEM segment, CIE Automotive is one of the, I think, very strongest outperforming companies in terms of earnings, in terms of return on investment, etc., etc. And my sense is that the crucial components that this particular company manufactures not only caters to the domestic company but also caters to the overseas market. So CIE Automotive is one particular company that we are extremely positive on. These are again, both are fundamental investment idea shells, so you need to have longish time horizon.
Absolutely. CIE Automotives is a company which was earlier a part of the Mahindra Automotive Group, but it has very recently changed hands and is now an MNC automotive component supplier in the business of gearbox and powertrains. This is, of course, a business that is doing extremely well, at least in the OEM space. And the stock had a very recent record high of about 500, 550, if I remember correctly. Now it's trading at a margin of safety of, I think, 484. Let me just see the price in front of me. Yes, 484 and closer to your 200 DMA. So Mr. Shah is on a roll today. Ladies and gentlemen, he's given you three options: Sagar Cement, Mahindra Automotive. Both of these companies are trading substantially below their all-time highs, as also Astra Micro. Now, Astra Micro is at a record high, that you need to keep in mind, but note these stocks down and over a period of time, average and average lower as well. Tanya, what is on your plate?
I think, Shal, I would like to discuss pharma stocks with Mr. Shah because if you see yesterday's performance as well, Sun Pharma was on the roll, and actually we discussed Sun Pharma in the morning trade yesterday as well. It was Akshay's top pick as well. But what are your thoughts on Pharma pack, Mr. Shah, and any stocks that you would like to recommend from this particular pack?
So Tanya, we have at least close to a dozen names in the pharma universe. But I will not put down the entire list because there will be unnecessary confusion. At the same time, we also reckon the fact that pharma's performance is not going to be during the pandemic and the near term post pandemic. I think you need to be extremely stock specific, whether it is the APIs or the generics, or whether it is diagnosis or whether it is hospitals healthcare related. So in the pure pharma play, some names that we are extremely positive on. I'll give out four names. Sun Pharma is one of them. Dr. Reddy's, Divi's Laboratories, and Cipla. These would be the names in the pure pharmaceutical play. Amongst the healthcare stroke hospitals, we are positive on three names: Apollo Hospital, Narayan Rudalaya, and Fortis Healthcare. Uh, I would say that stick to the growth stories, APIs and generics. I think that's where the momentum is going to be.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are about 13 seconds away from pre-open trades. Remember, we have a strong cue coming in from a sharp dip in crude oil prices, and that should impact the Lal Street as also the two main indices positively. Today is the weekly expiry of Bank Nifty. That is what you have to keep in mind. Let us see how prices move in. Tanya, I'm very happy to tell you the Nifty has moved 541 points higher at 19,929. It's the good luck that Mr. Shah brings to the screen, but these prices will settle down to sensible levels. But a gap up is what you see. It's a sheer delight to talk about stocks. TCS 5% higher, 35.38. I so wish this were true. ICICI Bank 5% higher, 9.95. I so wish this was true. Festivities around the corner, and Dalal Street celebrating like absolutely crazy. Infosys 4.6% higher, 14.69. These prices will obviously settle down to sensible levels, but the point I'm trying to make is that you're going to see a gap up. And Tanya, this is what we had planned for in the last 15-20 minutes of trade yesterday. Remember the Bank Nifty call of 43,700, and remember the 19,300 call of Nifty. That's how options work, but let these prices settle down. Now the stocks I want to see are Apollo Tyre, 1.5% higher, 390. This stock is headed towards its all-time high. I would also like to see how Cummins is placed. Very, very strong set of numbers, and the markets are rewarding them outstandingly, as you saw in Trent yesterday. So Cummins is opening 1.5% higher, 1725, and I'd like to see Asian Paints. Asian Paints is 0.5% higher, 3050, as also Berger Paints. The Nifty settling down to sensible levels, still up 190. TCS 1.8% higher, 3432. Remember the 3400 call on TCS? We had discussed it at 42 rupees. Okay, let's look at Reliance, 0.5% higher, very sensible prices, 2335. Let's look at the corporate banks. Axis Bank 1028, 0.7% higher, 1028. ICICI Bank at 957 is 1% higher. Now prices are getting to sensible levels. HDFC Bank is 2% higher, 1519, and the Nifty screaming 150 points higher, Tanya, 19,555. Remember the SBI ETF that we had talked at about 197. Remember the bank base that we had talked about at 430 rupees. Tanya, what are you watching?
I think, Shail, I'm watching Axis Bank because if you remember, it was one of Nilesh's picks yesterday, which he shared in the afternoon market show with us. And coming to you, Mr. Shah, for Axis Bank, what are your thoughts and where is the stock headed according to you? Could you please unmute yourself, Mr. Shah?
I am not. I am on unmute, but I don't know. The screen has frozen.
Please go ahead.
The screen has frozen at my end. I can't really see you or Shell. So I would request your PCR team to do the needful. But I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So we've been extremely positive. 1260, 1280 is the target on Axis Bank, and I think the numbers that the bank delivered for the second quarter was much beyond what our estimates were. And our sense is also that the credit demand is going to be very robust. A lot of NBFCs and banks have hit the street to raise funds, giving you a kind of a feeling that they are extremely confident about the loan book growth and the credit offtake. On the other side, you have constant downtick as far as gross net NPAs are concerned. Provisioning is also coming down because of the recovery process picking up steam. I don't think you should ignore banks for a pretty long period of time, but you need to be very stock specific when it comes to public sector banks.
Okay, and Gaurang, I just like to point out there's nothing in me to see, which is fine. There is no need for you to sort of tweak the screen. But yes, Tanya, I would agree. So the PCR would sort of have to tweak her image for you to see. Let's look at the markets, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we are waiting for Milin Vasudev, our technical guest for today, but a sea of green. It seems my green shirt has worked wonders. 85 points higher on the Nifty. 19,490 is what I see. And if it's an 85-point uptick on the Nifty, the Bank Nifty is likely to open 2.5 times higher than 85. So that is mathematically somewhere like 200 points is an uptick that we should see on the Bank Nifty, somewhere like 43,900. So that's the gap up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's also make you aware of some rates in the NSE 500 segment. Prince Pipe, 9% higher, 648. Remember, pipe companies have given very strong earnings like Astral, and PVC prices, the raw material for pipes is muted. So these are the reasons why you see pipe companies doing extremely well. Deepak Nitrite is something that I wanted to see, 3.5% higher, 2170. You have a strong move coming in the pre-open trade on GSFC, 3.5% higher, 193. Cochin Shipyard is something that we had caught yesterday, 1.9% higher, 1062. Remember, a stock split on the way. Chambal Fertilizers, SW Solar are the stocks that are in the green. The Nifty is now 57 points higher, 19,461. A green tick coming in on T-1 for Nifty, which is today, as also the weekly expiry of the Bank Nifty, which will happen on Wednesday. Let's see whether Mileen has joined us. He has. Mr. Vasudev, good morning. Welcome to Market Today. Festive and season's greetings to you. How does the Nifty look?
Highs going forward, but if you see the volumes are not higher, so maybe it is this rally we are seeing of short covering, but we are if we start trading above the 50-day moving average line, which is at 19,560 levels with good volumes, then yes, you could head towards say 19,800 from where we had fallen very sharply to 19,900 levels. But at present, yes, one should use a buy on decline strategy going forward in this market.
Okay, very good morning, Mr. Vasudeva. Tanya this side joining in the conversation. Let's take your view on some of the buzzing stocks, Mr. Vasudeva, and I'm talking about CDSL, Cochin Shipyard, and Zomato. So CDSL has been buzzing after the second quarter numbers. Cochin Shipyard approved stock split and announced a dividend as well. And Zomato also posted stellar set of second quarter numbers. So coming to you for CDSL, Cochin, and Zomato, what do the technical charts suggest for these stocks?
If you see CDSL also, last time I had recommended this stock, and clearly it is making a higher top, higher bottom formation on the daily chart, but on the weekly chart we are seeing a base formation, which clearly gives the impression that yes, this stock is likely to head higher, and at present one can just trail the stop loss to 1550 levels. On the higher side, we expect this stock to test say 1650 to 1700 levels. The second stock which you asked is Zomato. Currently Zomato is trading at 122 levels. Again, 2 days back only, there was a good price action volume in this counter. And at present, one can hold this stock with a stop loss of, say, 108 on the higher side. The immediate resistance is somewhere around, say, 126 levels. Once that level is being conquered, then yes, you could see the levels of 135 to 140 to an outer extent of 155 levels. The second stock is Cochin Shipyard. Again, Cochin Shipyard had made a very vertical move, and from there for last nearly nearly 7 to 8 weeks, it has making a lower low formation, and yesterday only the weekly high is being crossed. So this gives an impression, yes, this counter has got a potential to go on the higher side. Currently, one can initiate a long at current level, keep a stop loss of 1030. On the higher side, Cochin Shipyard is likely to test somewhere around 1100 to 1120 levels in couple of days' time.
Okay, that's a fairly detailed view on three very high beta stocks that have been trading in the aggressive bull zone over the last 2 or 3 trading sessions. From your own quiver of arrows, Milene, what looks good on the charts?
See, yesterday, if you see some double bottom formation has been formed in HAL, currently trading at 2017 levels. One can keep a stop loss of 1960 and a target price of 2120 to 170. The second stock is VBL, Varun Beverage, currently trading at 991. Good price volume action in this counter. Again, keep a stop loss of 960 on the higher side. Could expect 1050 to 1080 going forward. There are a lot of stock moving in mid cap and small cap, and in power sector. If you see, JP Power and R Power are making good moves in the yesterday's trading session. In that, we are liking R Power. Currently, it is making a rounding base pattern. Currently trading at 20 levels. One can keep a slight deeper stop loss of 17. On the higher side, 24 and 28 could be achievable in couple of weeks' time.
Okay, I caught Hindustan Aeronautics, Milene. I didn't catch the second share that you mentioned in the 900 rupee range. Could you please repeat the name?
It was VBL, Varun Beverage.
Varun Beverages.
I'm. Okay. Okay. Varun Beverages. Perfect. And with the absolutely, so two stocks, Hindustan Aeronautics and Varun Beverages on the technical charts, and with absolutely no offense, Milene, just a word of caution on both JP Power and Reliance Power, R Power. Just be very, very careful. These are stocks in the penny space which have already run up very sharply. You have to be extremely, extremely cautious on the kind of moves that we are seeing in this space. Please do also take another view on these two stocks, JP as well as Reliance Power, R Power as it is known as, should you decide to take a long side trade. But good marks on Hindustan Aeronautics as well as Varun Beverages. Milene, let's take this discussion forward. What according to you is the strongest bank within the bank nifty space, Milene?
Last 3 days, if you see, ICICI Bank was a stock which was showing strength. Now, currently, ICICI Bank is trading at somewhere around 948 level. Immediate resistance for ICICI Bank is 951 because it has taken a good support at the 200-day moving average line and has started moving on the higher side. Now, if the resistance of 950 is being removed, yes, ICICI Bank look good on the chart, and on the higher side it is likely to test say 980 to 1000 level going forward.
Okay, absolutely. And Mr. Vasudev, we were discussing Sun Pharma. Actually, we discussed the stock in the morning trade yesterday as well. And the stock was on a roll yesterday. It was the top gainer also. But what should be the strategy for today? And what do the technical charts suggest for Sun Pharma?
See, actually, if you see Sun Pharma on the weekly chart, now nearly 8 weeks consolidation, it is going to give a breakout. And on the yearly chart, clearly a multi-year breakout is in offing. Now currently it is trading somewhere around 1175. The multi-year high is somewhere around 1200. If that level is being crossed, yes, you could see a good dynamic move in this stock. On the higher side, it is likely to test the levels of 1250, 1275 to an outer extent of 1300 levels.
Right. Sun Pharma we need to look at for a very different reason as well. The price that you see was last seen in April of 2015 when the stock was actually at a 3-4 year roll. So 15 would mean a 7-year breakout that is going to come on India's largest pharmaceutical company, and as Milene pointed out, that event in itself is celebratory in nature. A 7-year pop-up is something that markets really rejoice. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at prices. In the opening trades, Nifty is opening 30 points higher, 19,434. The Bank Nifty is up 38 points, 43,770. The Nifty IT index and the Nifty 500X are in the green. Let's shift focus immediately to index heavyweights and see what is fueling this uptick on the Nifty. I want to see what HDFC Bank is doing. Down 0.3%, 1481. Reliance is what I want to see. Reliance at the moment is trading flat at about 23.24. And how about Infosys? These are the three stocks that decide the fate of the Nifty. In the red, 0.2% lower, 1401. So unlikely that this move, which is the uptick, is likely to continue. We will see profit booking coming in because it's T-1 for Nifty, 4 days of rally and a very sustained uptick in the last half an hour of trade yesterday. So all those calls will be booked as far as profit taking is concerned. What is moving very sharply? Milene's pick, Hindustan Aeronautics at 2036. You need to keep that in front of you in your radar. What else is moving very sharply? Bombay Stock Exchange at 2052, again record high. This is something that you need to look at as far as charts are concerned. Oil marketing companies have started to roll. HPCL is highest level at intraday, 295 in front of me. Strong moves coming in on IOC and BPCL as well. BPCL 379.35. This is how pricing are moving. Earnings boy, Deepak Nitrite, a decent block deal of 6,300 shares worth about 1.4 crore rupees. 2210 is what I see, and this is how moves are coming. Pharma is kicking up in the green. Laurus Labs and Biocon are the prices that are trading at intraday highs as far as prices are concerned. Tanya, your favorite in the past 1 week, Tata Elxsi, is now at 8338. So the point I'm trying to make is, ladies and gentlemen, the momentum is in fine shape. Now let's shift focus to FNO. Okay, top gainer is HPCL and Deepak Nitrite. Remember, we highlighted both these stocks in pre-open trades. Apollo Tyres, a very strong set of earnings, stock headed for record high, 3.2% higher, 396.65 in front of me. Indian Oil Corporation, 1.2% higher, 105.15. Let's look at most active counters, and in the most active counters, amongst the first 20, about 11 or 12 are in the green, which basically means that the momentum is towards the green side. IOC is the second most active counter, 1.3% higher, 105.40. Apollo Tyres, 3% higher, 396. Let's shift focus to NSE 500 and then go to Milene immediately. The top gainers are Prince Pipe, 6% higher, post a seller set of earnings, 663. And we have only earnings boys rejoicing this very sharp bound. Cubans India, 2% higher, 1736. Milene, to you, the Nifty now flat at about 19,415. Is there anything that you'd like to do on the Nifty, and anything that catches your fancy in the cash segment? CDSL running away 1625.
Segment, I have already told that HAL is going to give a good move going forward, and currently it is up by 1%. Now going forward on the one more counter is there, Alchem, which is good on the chart, and even we could see some kind of a base formation in Alchem, and one can initiate a long at current levels. And can take the advantage, keep a stop loss of say somewhere around 4,000 level on the higher side. We expect Alpine to test the levels of 4,300, 4,400 in couple of weeks time.
Okay, absolutely. And let's talk about HPCL as well, Mr. Vasudev. It's the top gainer from the FNO space. and we have been discussing this stock. We discussed this stock yesterday as well. But what should be the strategy now, and what do the technical charts suggest for HPCL?
See, currently, if one cannot initiate a long over here, why? Because it has opened up with a gap, and nearly the stock is up by 7 to 8%. But yes, on a decline, one can look into it. But those who are holding this stock should trail their stop loss to 270. On the higher side, the initial resistance for this stock is somewhere around, say, 305 to 310 levels. Once that level is being crossed, yes, fresh move could be in offing, and this could take the stock towards, say, 320 to 330 to an outer extent of 350 in couple of months time.
Okay, absolutely. And I think we should also talk about Apollo Tires, Mr. Vasudeo. The company posted stellar set of second quarter numbers. Profit is up 164% on a year-on-year basis, on a healthy financial performance after a fall in. Okay, the profit is up because of the fall in input cost. So, what do the technical charts now suggest for Apollo tires? 399 is the level where we are at, 4% uptick there on this counter.
See, on 11 August, Apollo Tyre made a high of 440, and from there it has continuously correcting, made a bottom of 370, 370, took a good support at the 200-day moving average line. While for last 4 weeks, we are seeing the counter trading in the range of, say, 394 to 370 levels. Now, this level is 394. It has broken clearly with good volumes on the daily chart. This clearly suggests that there is some kind of an buying interest in this stock. One can initiate a long over here, keep a stop loss of, say, somewhere around 375 on the higher side. Once 308 is being uh, sorry, the current rate is at 400 levels. Once it has got a strong resistance at 410 levels. Once that level is being crossed, then yes, you could see some kind of a momentum on the upside, which could take this counter towards, say, somewhere around 430 to 440 levels.
Okay, that is the view coming in on Apollo Tires. Remember, the earnings were fantastic, and other tire companies such as MRF, such as JK Tire, such as SEAT are all consolidating near record highs. There is no reason why Apollo should be where it is, given the strength of its earnings performance. To you, Milene, Asian Paints. This is a stock that we had highlighted before markets opened, and your views on the chart, and let's look at the 3080 call on Asian Paints, 3080 call, which at the moment is 50 rupees 25. First, your view on the technical charts.
So the technicals on the Asian Paints, no doubt, for last 4 trading session, we are seeing good bounce back in this stock. In the cash level, the real resistance level or the barrier is at 3080 level, which is that flat moving 200-day moving average line. So initially, I would not initiate any long position in it because it is clearly in a lower top, lower bottom formation. I would wait for some kind of a reversal because there is a lot of supply in the range of, say, somewhere around 3080 to 100 levels, 3100 levels. So I would not initiate a long at current level and wait for some good price action to form on this stock to go long in this stock.
Okay, getting back, Gaurang, into the discussion, the markets have opened fairly flat on the two indices, Gaurang, the Nifty Bank in the red because of weekly expiry, and Nifty flat at about 19,416. Stocks doing extremely well. Your view on Apollo Tires? The earnings are fantastic, and the stock has now crossed back above the 400 rupee level. Tire companies in general, what do you like, and any view on Apollo Tires?
speaking about OEM segment companies, and one of the recommendation that was CIE Automotive. Uh, the it's very integral part of a vehicle, and especially to make a vehicle safe, not only in terms of what goes inside the vehicle, but what is outside in terms of tires. Um, the kind of new launches that are there lined up, not only for this year, which has got only about maybe a month and 20 odd days, but also for the next year, because if you remember the Auto Expo in Delhi, I think all the companies were very exuberant in terms of new technology, new launches, clean and green fuel getting used, reducing carbon footprints, etc., etc. So not only is the new order market very strong and durable, but equally strong and durable is the replacement market. Along with that, you have rubber prices at a very comfortable zone in the commodity market. The only joker that disturbs on and off is the crude oil prices. But my understanding is that most of the tire manufacturing companies have a long-term contract. So short-term volatility will not affect seriously the profit margins or dent the profitability of the company. Uh, ex- there was a red flag in terms of cheap dumping from China as far as radial truck bus tires were concerned. Government has bought in anti-dumping duty, countervailing duty, and minimum import duty has been imposed. So I think it's a very nice level playing field for the Indian tire manufacturing companies, not only to coexist in India, but in terms of exports as well.
Okay, absolutely. Got that. And I think we should pull up Deepak Nitrite as well. The stock is on a roll after the second quarter numbers. And profit is up around 17% at 205 odd crore rupees, led by healthy operating margin performance. Coming to you first, Mr. Vasudev, for Deepak Nitrite. And then I will also take PI Industries with you. But first of all, your thoughts on Deepak Nitrite after the results?
See, clearly, Deepak Nitrite is 2 days back only we saw good price action in this counter, but currently I would not advise anybody to enter in this counter as the chartical pattern is not in the favor of bulls. At present, we are only seeing a pullback in a downtrend, and one should wait for a clear pattern to go long in this stock.
And what about PI Industries? What do the technical charts suggest for this counter?
See, PI industry, if you see it as on the weekly chart, clearly the stock is making some base formation going forward. And on the weekly charts for last 4 weeks, it is just trading sideways in the range of say 3543 on the higher side and 3296 on the lower side. Now, at present, one can on the daily chart, we are seeing some kind of a volume accumulation over here. One can initiate a long at current level, keep a stop loss of say somewhere around 3471 levels, and on the higher side, the immediate resistance for the stock is somewhere around 3560. Once that level is being crossed, yes, you could expect this stock to test 3600, 3650 levels going forward.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll just mark some options prices for you. Remember, we had talked about the 3080 call on Asian Paints at about 45, 46 rupees. It is gaining strength at 54.50. Let's hope the PCR is able to fire this for you. The stock at the moment is trading at its day's high 33,075. Decent block deals, nothing much to talk about, but this is something that you need to keep on your radar. Strong moves coming in on Asian Paints 3080 call, as also the TCS 3400 call that we had talked about at about 42, 43 rupees, showing a smart burst now at about 50 rupees 20 paisa. These are the two calls that are in focus as far as trades are concerned. Very, very sharp moves coming in the cement space. India Cement, the highest beta counter in this space, at 218.25, ACC at 18.75. That's how cement is moving. JK Cement, fresh intraday high 34.73, and the high beta space is taking it away. We have Bombay Stock Exchange at its day's high is what I see. CDSL at its day's high 16.30. Remember Vedanta, the stock that I talked about yesterday, day's high 241. These are the stocks that are doing extremely well. And of course, Federal Bank. Coming to you, Milene, 150 on the charts of Federal Bank, fairly strong charts. Would you have a view on this particular counter for the medium term?
Clearly, on the weekly chart, we are seeing that the stock is making some kind of a base pattern over here. At present, this stock is trading well above the 50-day moving average line, clearly outperforming the benchmark indices. One can initiate a long at current level, keep a stop loss of 136 on the lower side. On the upside, yes, there is a strong resistance at say 155 levels. Once that level is being crossed, yes, you could see the stock testing the levels of 165, 170 to an outer extent of 175 levels.
Shell Trent is trading at record high. I think we should pull up this stock and we should discuss the technical charts with Mr. Vasudeo. Coming to you, Mr. Vasudeo, for Trent, the profit is up nearly threefold to 228 odd crore rupees, and the stock is on a roll. It's actually trading at record highs already. What do the technical charts suggest now for Trent?
See, if you see the yearly chart of trend, it has gone up by 80%, clearly clearly outperformer. And yesterday also in the trading session, we saw trend was up by 8%. At present, if one is holding this stock, can keep a stop losses say somewhere around 2350 on the higher side. Immediate resistance is at 2465, that is today's high. If that is being crossed, yes, you could see again another new high towards say the stock can move towards say 2550, 2600 levels.
What about you, Mr. Shah? What are your thoughts on this Tata Group firm after the stellar set of second quarter numbers?
Tanya, so don't have a specific coverage, but let me give you an overall view of the sector. And one of the competitors to Trent, where we have a coverage. Of course, Trent is one of the most established companies, comes from a very renowned group, has got a decent amount of presence and footfalls. And undeniably, the product offering in different categories is much, much better. Having said that, the interest from from traditional going out to a retail store and purchasing something, then moving on to the e-commerce platform, and now depending upon the experience, some consumers are going back to that footfall into the retail store physically. We have a coverage on another company in the sector, that is Shoppers Stop. Of course, but there is a huge stark difference in terms of financials performance when it comes to comparison. Trent is a much stronger balance sheet with a stronger presence. But equally, I think Shoppers Stop is also something that you can not ignore. So we are excited about the sector, and I think this festive season is going to add in a little bit of more cheer in terms of numbers improvement.
Okay, and Mr. Shah, what about Federal Bank? It's the top gainer from the Nifty Bank index. What are your thoughts on Federal Bank, and where is the stock headed according to you?
So our targets are 175, 180 from a long-term point of view on Federal Bank, and we've been recommending this bank right from 45 odd levels, or maybe just below 45 levels, and constantly we have increased our price targets on fallback of strong performance. And equally strong was the commentary from the management, not only for this second quarter this financial year, but also for the first quarter this financial year. And historically speaking, it was earlier known as South India Concentrated Bank. But I think because of the great business strategy put in place by the top management, they have increased their footprints pan India, and I think slow and steadily they are growing. Numbers are quite decent. 175 to 180 could be the targets from a long-term point of view.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's 9:35 on the screens. Let's look at a wider market. The Nifty and the Bank Nifty are trading flat for expiry-related reasons, but a lot of enthusiasm, Tanya, across the board. 1,400 stocks on the National Stock Exchange are trading in the green, just 500 in the red. So it's the bulls that are ruling the roost on Dalal Street, and thanks to crude oil prices, which have dipped below 200 DMA. The top gainer, the Nifty Pharma Index, up 1.1%, 18 out of 20 stocks are in the green. Tanya, we track 19 indices. Out of 19, 18 are in the green. So you can well imagine the kind of bullish fervor that is getting unlocked on the Dalal Street. Let's look at the broadest index, Nifty, the 500 index, up 0.27%. It's the advanced decline here that signals strength. Out of 500 stocks, 376 are in the green, just 125 in the red. And I'll give you another interesting statistics. If you see the market map as of now within the Nifty 500, there are 10 stocks that are up between 3 and 5%. And there are 3 stocks which are up more than 5%, they being Hindustan Petroleum, 7% higher to 98, Prince Pipes, driven by very strong earnings, 8% higher, 680, and Prestige Estates, 834.70, up 5.5%. Amongst those stocks that are up to 3% and between 3 and 5% are Apollo Tyres and Alchem. We have taken a view on both of them. NLC India, Angel One, Granules, Kalyan Jewellers are the other stocks that are doing pretty well. On the side of the bears, there is just one stock in the NSE 500 that has fallen between 3 and 5%. So you can well imagine that it's not bears that are ruling sentiment, and that's Rain Industries. A terrible set of numbers that came in, the counter 4% lower at about 148. Millen is being very, very cautious. He's not pointing out to a buy on HPCL, but the stock is the top gainer. And on the FNO space, now up 7%, and very, very strong traction coming in on the volume side. Let me just check the volume in terms of volume buzzers on HPCL. Okay, we already have 1.5 times the volume traded, 72,80,000 shares, 297, 6% higher. Deep value to be had in the OMC space. Let's check a fundamental view on HPCL from Gaurang. Gaurang, these are stocks that have always disappointed long-term holders of OMCs. Would you have a view on HPCL?
We do definitely have a view, Shail, but I am absolute sync with what you said. Major disappointment. I mean, over the last 2-3 years, look at where the markets were and where the markets are, and look at the plight of the oil marketing companies. We have coverage on all 3 names, oil marketing companies, HPCL, BPCL, IOC. One good part is that they have a very strong dividend paying history because of the government of India being the largest shareholder. The investment, we've heard a lot from the government. Virtually, we were convinced that BPCL will go through, but even after so much of talk and so much of expectation, nothing has happened, Shail. And especially, it's good that crude oil is down 4%, but what if things go on the other way, and if you have a bump up in crude oil prices in a time where you have 5 state elections, in a time when you have a big election next year, government is in no position to pass on any kind of fuel price hike in form of petrol, diesel, etc. to the consumer, because that will impact the sentiments in the election environment or sentiments. So these companies are good They have performed, but and other thing is even the first quarter this financial year share. I think oil marketing companies delivered a stellar set of numbers. Second quarter, again, there was no disappointment, but there was excitement. But look at the fact that these stocks are just up for maybe about 2, 3 days, and then it again goes into hibernation on the downside. So let's hope that something happens from the government side. Possibly next year, the divestment steam picks up. And of course, the shift from the conventional fossil fuels to more clean and green fuels will enable a better performance from oil marketing companies. Till such time, I think it's going to be a range bound performance.
Okay, and I completely concur with Gaurang when it comes to the strength of fundamentals for OMCs and the absolute lack of investor interest in them, simply because long-term investors have been terribly let down by governments of all hues and colors when it comes to the divestment process. I'll just give you a couple of data on HPCL. You'll be surprised to know that the top line of HPCL is somewhere like 4 lakh 52,000 crore rupees over the last 12 months. It has earnings of 16,640 crore rupees over the last 12 months. The fundamentals that were very ably pointed out by Gaurang. And just listen to the market capitalization now. It is less than 40,000 crore rupees because investors are just not interested in, how should I say, looking at whatever roadmaps on divestment that the government shows, whether it is on BPCL now or 5 years earlier. So great disappointments as far as long-term shareholders are concerned, but our job is to pick up winners during the day as well. So BPCL and HPCL are doing fine, and Million refuses to stick his head out on or neck out on HPCL. Be that as it may, we'll live with that. Very, very strong moves coming in on the entire railway pack. IRFC days high 74.55. IRCON doing pretty well at days high. RVNL 160 rupees days high. Good block deals. Million, anything in the railway pack that interests you on the long side?
See, IRCON, if you see, IRCON is a stock which has shown kind of an accumulation. Now, for last 3 days, it is making a higher high, and tomorrow it seems tomorrow is the result. And I am very hopeful that this stock is likely to conquer the resistance of 162. Once that level is being crossed, then you could expect the levels of say somewhere around 180 to 200 levels going forward.
Okay,
Okay,
Shall we
that is the
have?
move on
I
IRCON.
was saying
Yeah, Tanya,
Maxcom
please
dot
go ahead.
Shell. Yeah, we have results today, and the stock is actually up over 150% in the last 6 months. Coming to you, Mr. Vasudev, for Mazgon Doc, what do the technical charts suggest, and what should be the strategy ahead of the second quarter numbers?
See, if you see, Mazgadok also made a high of say 2484, and from there it is continuously making a lower top, lower bottom formation. And last 2 days we are seeing some kind of a base formation in this stock. Those who are holding the stock can keep a stop loss of say somewhere around 1950. On the higher side, Mazgadok has got a stiff resistance at say somewhere around 2100 levels and one sorry one 2000 levels, and once that level is being crossed, then you could expect Mazgadok to head higher towards say to 2100 to 2200 levels.
Coming to you, Mr. Shah, for Mass Talk, because we have numbers today, and any stocks that you like from the defense space, and your thoughts on Masdoc ahead of its numbers?
Term perspective, especially when numbers are due, because the stocks can go either way depending upon which way the numbers come. I would put it sectorially for the benefit of your viewers and investors. So we've been positive on the entire defense pack. right from the time the IPOs hit the street, whether it is Cochin Shipyard, whether it is Bharat Dynamics, whether it is Hindustan Aeronautics, whether it is Muscat Docks. We've been positive on all these names. Even post that, we had some private sector defense plays come with IPOs. We were positive over there as well. And our sense is that this is another 3, 5, 10 year story, not only limited to defense, but also we would like to add power sector, and with power we would like to add two more ancillary: power generation, power transmission and distribution, and power equipment. So that's the other sector with three verticals. I think Shell mentioned a while back about railway stocks. These three sectors: defense, power generation, power equipment, and railways. Whether it is strong government entity or whether it is a strong private player play into all these three sectors and its ancillary sectors, they are going to be in the spotlight for a pretty long period of time. There are certain voices on the street who say that they are overvalued and the prices are just going up on the order book. But what some of these most dear friends of mine on the street don't realize that if they have such a strong order book, in the future they are going to get executed and they are going to translate into earnings. So we remain extremely positive on these three sectors. Unfortunately, don't have more specific names to go in terms of recommendation.
Right. And Gaurang, with that, we'd like to thank you for sparing your valuable time with our viewers and investors on Business Today Television. And three stocks we'll remember: Sagar Cement, CEI Automotive, and Astra Micro from your side as picks for the long term for a portfolio that will outperform the broader market in general. Thank you so much. And once again, festive greetings.
Thank you. All the best.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll again shift focus back to stock picking. The Nifty is now up 22 at 19,429. The Nifty Bank down 50 at 43,683. Remember, it's the weekly expiry for the Bank Nifty today. What is running up? Tanya, take a bow. Trent, 2483, fresh record high. Good block deals happening in front of me. 1 crore, then 56 lakhs, then 1 crore 47 lakhs. Is what I see. Very, very strong moves coming in on Trent. Then what is sticking? It's the railway pack today, and it should be RVNL whose views we should be taking on when it is Milin's expertise on the charts. To you, Milin, RVNL at the moment is trading 2.3% higher, 160 almost. What are the charts telling you?
Clearly, Shell, if you see on the daily chart, nearly for 7 trading sessions, it is clearly trading sideways and no clear trend is emerging. No doubt today it is up by say 2.37%. Now one can initiate a long at current levels, keeping a strict stop loss of say somewhere around 150 levels. On the higher side, if this stock is likely to if it tests initial resistance is somewhere around 163 levels. Once that level is being crossed, yes, you could see some kind of an uptick in this stock, which could lead the stock towards say 167 to 175 levels. But Shell, one stock is clearly showing strength here is Alchem. If you see, Alchem is making a good moves, and now Alchem has nearly crossed the 2-year high, and clearly it's a winner over here. One can even buy at current level, keep a stop loss of say 100 rupees on the lower side. But we expect this stock to test the higher levels of say 4,300, 4,400 on the higher side.
Fair point. It's already a record high on Alchem, and very, very strong earnings powering Alchem to current levels. Milin, being a technical trader, wants to sort of chase this momentum, and both fundamentally as well as technically, is what his view is to go long. Apollo Tyres, top gainer now, 5.2% higher at 402. Blowout numbers. And remember, this is coming in on the back of short covering, which basically means all those bears who were thinking that earnings would disappoint are now covering their short positions very, very aggressively. Let's look at all other stocks. The top gainer in the F&O space is within the FMCG basket, Asian Paints, 3077, up 1.1%. Federal Bank, we've discussed, something that we don't have a technical view on, but fairly sensible view is HPCL, 298.30, up 7%. These are all the top stocks that I'm talking about in terms of individual stock gainers in the F&O space. Deepak Nitrite, 1.3% higher. Strong set of earnings coming in, 6% rise in open interest. The Nifty now flat at about 19,419, 14 points higher. The Bank Nifty slipping 87 points lower, 43,655. Tanya, what are you watching?
The stock on my radar is Bank of Baroda Shell. And I want to come to you, Mr. Vasudev, for this particular counter. I mean, the stock was under pressure after the results, but now if you see, the stock is up 1% in today's trading session. 193 is the level where we are at this point in time. So what would be your suggestion for Bank of Baroda?
See, Bank of Baroda is also making a lower top, lower bottom formation. Now, 3 days back only it tested the 50-day moving average somewhere around 203 is the 50-day moving average line. And from there, for 2 consecutive trading sessions with good high volumes, it has fallen down. So I would not initiate a long at current levels. I expect that this stock is likely to test the levels of, say, 186 on the lower side, because today it might be a breather in this stock. Then tomorrow again you could see some kind of a selling pressure in this stock. So I would say one should be away from this stock.
KPIT Tech is also buzzing. 2% uptick there as well, Mr. Vasudev. And if you could pull up that stock for our viewers, yes, 1.97%, 1296 is the level. We have seen that these mid-cap ITs, they have been performing really better than the large-cap names. So what do the technical charts suggest for KPIT Tech, Mr. Vasudev?
3 points I would like to suggest on this stock. Now, it is first on the weekly chart, it is making a nice consolidation breakout pattern. And on the daily chart, clearly a higher high formation is forming. It is clearly outperforming the benchmark indices. Even the momentum indicator, namely the MACD, is on the positive side. So those who are holding this stock can trail the stop loss to, say, 1260 on the higher side. Once that on the higher side, this stock is likely to test 1330, 1350 levels going forward.
Okay. This is as far as momentum is concerned on KPIT. Remember, these are 2 stocks in the mid-cap space which we are tracking very aggressively. Birla Soft and KPIT, both consolidating near record highs, and any dips here, look at opportunities to add for the longer term. Tanya, it's 9:53. Let's look at some other parts of the segment which are clicking fairly well. I see Adani Ports at day's high, 808.50. Stocks like Laurus Labs, stocks like IPCA are doing pretty well when it comes to the movement on the long side. Some things that I want to highlight in terms of trend, and by trend I mean stocks that are continuously going up or down. Just give me a moment, I'd like to highlight a few. IOC, it's up for the 8th day in a row at 105.20. So very difficult to take a technical call on such overstretched stocks. Indian Hotels at 403.30 is again up for 8 straight sessions. Tata Consumer, brilliant set of earnings, 926, rallying for the 8th day in a row, as also HPCL and BPLCL. Now, stocks that are falling. 3 days in a row, Shriram Finance. Remember, this is a stock which is consolidating near record highs, so any dips should be attractive for you. Bharat Forge down for the second day and Tata Chemicals down for the second day. So remember, rallies are going further and further, and dips are getting purchased in whatever fundamental strong stocks that you can think of. Within the railway pack, it is IRFC that is at day's high. Two very strong block deals happening of 1 crore and 1 crore 65 lakh rupees, worth about 3.5 lakh shares on IRFC. Strong move coming in on rights at about 455.60. Remember, Milleen pointed out to IRCON, to RVNL in this particular space. Strong traction coming in to Aurobindo Pharma. I never fail to mention this is the highest beta stock I have ever seen across all sectors. Let's see what Aurobindo Pharma is doing. Just a moment, please. I just want to see how much of open interest has risen in this one. Okay, here it is. It's still up just 0.3%, so not much of trader or retail interest here. Anything that catches your fancy, Milleen, in the pharma space?
In the pharma space, I've already told about Alchem. Second thing, Newlands Lab is one stock. If you see, yesterday also it gave a good move. And it seems that this stock is making some kind of a it has given a breakout yesterday on the weekly chart, and currently also it is trading up by 4%. One can accumulate at lower level, not at current level, because then the stop loss will be far away. But yes, we are very positive on Newland Labs, and we expect this stock to test the levels of 5,000 to 5,500 in couple of months' time.
Right. Milleen points out fundamentally strong stocks which are very strong on technicals. Now the only dragger here is the unit price. Newland again 48.19 in front of you, fresh record high here. It's been consolidating over the last 3 odd months, and the breakout happening yesterday. Alchem Labs again 4200, very high ticket size but strong earnings and strong charts. What can you do? Good things don't come at cheaper prices. That is what I learned from the markets. And of course, strong moves coming in on Birla Soft, in sync with what KPIT is doing. 589.85, up 1.3%. Any long-term view on Birla Soft, Milleen?
See, Birla Soft has making a good new highs going forward, but yes, one can try to accumulate Birla Soft at lower levels now. Currently, we had seen Birla Soft making a high of 600, and from there it is correcting. So near 575, 560 levels. Once you try to buy this dip on the higher side, again we are expecting that the levels of 600 would be conquered, and the stock would head towards say 610, 620 to an outer extent of 645 in couple of months' time.
Okay, so let's look at the lower range, 645. I'm sure long-term investors would be pretty thrilled with that. Draws to a close the time, and we'll need to thank Milleen for his wonderful picks. Mr. Vasudev, what a pleasure to host you, sir. Festive greetings to everyone at home, at Arihant Capital, to your portfolio, and to you from Business Today Television Network, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good. Okay. Tanya, a couple of points I'd like to make. One, the main indices are flat. Nothing much happening on Nifty Bank because we are facing the weekly expiry. 43,760 for you. The Nifty is now up 41 points, 19,450. The day's high is Nifty PSU Bank, Nifty 100, Nifty IT Index, and the Nifty Pharma Index. So these four indices are at its day's high, and very very strong moves coming in on stocks such as CDSL, Trent, BSE, all sorts of railway stocks, IRFC, RVNL, IRCON and RITES. So the overall momentum is fairly good, and you had picked up PI Industries, days high 35.88. Tanya.
Absolutely, Shell. And the good news is that 19,400 level, that is still intact on Nifty. Let's see how the action pans out going forward. But thanks for the excellent data, and thanks for being with us here on BTTV. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, it's a wrap. And it's now time for us to wrap up this special edition of Market Today. But you don't have to go anywhere. Lots more coming up for you. So stay tuned, and many thanks for watching.
Which over the next 6 months, 1 year might give stellar returns on the long side?
When I look from a long-term perspective is Tata Motors. The chart structure is really strong here. It's just been in a kind of a consolidation and time and again the bumps which are happening, the recovery rallies are pretty good for short-term buying too. I believe this breakout is already on 600 support base has been set in. Tata Motors should be targeting around 900 with a time frame of 1 to 1.5 year.